Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I call to order the Wickliffe City Council meeting of December 19th, 2022. Sandy, please call the roll.
Al.
Here.
Stein.
Here.
Jaworski.
Excused.
Kosky. Here. Levon.
Here.
Slaughter. Here. Hill.
Here.
I'll entertain a motion allowing myself to abstain from the voting on the meeting minutes of December 12th, 2022.
I make a motion that Council President Levon abstains from voting on the council minutes from 12/12/2020.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilwoman Saloto to allow Council President Levon to abstain from voting on the meeting minutes of December 12th, 2022. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Al.
Yes.
Stein.
Yes.
Kosky.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Slaughter. Yes. Hillman.
Yes.
Make a motion we approve the council minutes from 12/12/22.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Thielman, that the council meeting minutes of December 12th, 2022 be approved as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Al.
Yes.
Stein.
Yes.
Kosky.
Yes.
Sorry. Slaughter.
Nope, I got it.
Yes.
Abstain.
Slaughter. Yes. Hillman.
Yes.
Okay, reports and communications from the Mayor, Safety Director.
Thank you, Council President. Okay, so most of you know that we share a economic developer with Wickliffe, and so they also have, well, they have a new mayor, and we are gonna go in a different direction and are not gonna renew that contract, so we are gonna handle economic development a little bit different. The city development team, as long as the city development advisory panel, we will roll that out with our new plan for economic development in Wickliffe. The first draft of the budget should be ready to be presented to council before the end of the year. And then tomorrow, we will welcome those who serve our city on a board or commission to a thank you reception at the community center. I brought back this event as I believe it's important to recognize and to thank these dedicated people who volunteer their time and talent to the city of Wickliffe. Finally, I would like to thank council and the administrators, my family, city employees, residents, businesses of Wickliffe for the opportunity to serve you guys. I sincerely wish each of you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So thank you, and that's all I have.
Any questions or comments for the Mayor, Safety Director? Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Reports and communications from the Director of Law.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Just want to wish everyone a happy holiday season, and I have no other report, though.
Any questions or comments for the Law Director? Thank you, Scott. Communications from the Council President? I have none. Amendments or additions to the agenda? Mayor.
Okay, first I'd like to call for executive session for personnel.
Okay, we will add or modify the agenda, so line item 18 will be executive session for personnel.
And
then make line 19 adjournment. And then go ahead, Mayor.
And then under new business A, civil service.
We'll add new business A, civil service. Any other additions or amendments to the agenda? I'm gonna add line B, organizational meeting. And line C, sewer fund. Any other additions or amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to administrators. Police Chief Ice.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't have anything to add in my monthly report.
Any questions or comments for the police chief? Councilman Bala.
Go ahead. Okay. Randy, how are the flock cameras doing? How are they working? Oh, I take it from you? Yeah. Oh.
They're actually a great tool. We've caught people that have committed thefts because of that. We've helped out other cities. As you know, you can set the parameters any way you want. So you can set up for stolen vehicles, felony warrants for people. We've got a couple folks like that, but that's not the benefit of it. The benefit of it is that it identifies vehicles that are used in suspicious activities or thefts. So we've had some success. Our detectives use it every day.
Councilman Thielman.
All the cameras that we purchased are installed and operational?
Yes.
Any further questions or comments for the police chief? Councilman Thielman?
Do you think we'll be expanding it, or just kind of living with what we got for a year or so?
Well, we're gonna try it for a full year. A lot of places have expanded. I know Mentor, I think, has like 29 cameras now. Willoughby's expanding. Just about every city that, has the initial purchase of them does expand it. There are a number of different places we could use it, so we're looking at that.
Councilwoman Koski.
So exactly how does that work? So if a car drives by and it's,
License.
yeah, the license,
It's a license plate.
but then who gets the notification?
Dispatch in every police car, and anybody in an office has got the software. We have access to everybody else's flock cameras too in the system. So, for example, if we're interested in the car, say, any kind of a crime, and we identify it, maybe in Wickliffe, then we identified it maybe in South Euclid, and then we identified it in Solon, you can track where the car is going at.
So when it comes up, does it say what it was involved in, or
No.
it just says?
You have to type in the parameters you want. You can also type in a white Ford pickup truck, and then it'll pick up just white Ford pickup trucks, and you have to sift through those and see which one you want.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any further questions or comments for the police chief? Thank you, Chief Ice. Fire Chief Powers.
Thank you, Council President. I have nothing to add to my previously submitted written report. I would like to thank you and Councilman Jaworski for helping us with the Volunteer Firefighter Dependent Fund last week. And that's been completed for the year as required by the state of Ohio.
Any questions or comments for the fire chief? Thank you, Chief Powers. Finance Director Doles.
Thank you, Council President. I have nothing to add to my previously submitted report.
Any questions or comments for the Finance Director? Thank you, Ms. Doles. Engineer Formica.
Thank you, Council President. One thing to add to my previous report is I got to talk with the mayor a little bit today about our road programs and why are we getting the paving jobs done so late in the year. And, we talked about funding, and sometimes we have to bid it out later. But if we can get that improvement list early, like in previous administrations, we'd have this list in November, and, but if we can get it out in January, even early February, we can be first out of the gate in April and have these things wrapped up by August, so that we won't be paving in late in the season. That's one thing. Last year, there were a few circumstances that I don't want to have to get into them all, but if you recall, we had some really high bids. We had to rebid some projects because of the asphalt prices. And one of the restrictions is one of the things is if we tell the contractor, hey, we have to get this thing, we want this done in August, well, we're gonna pay a higher premium too. We're gonna pay a higher price because those contractors are gonna schedule, hey, they want it done now, you're gonna pay for it. If we set a completion date later in the year, then they can wiggle it into their schedule and we get better prices. But that's up to council's discretion, so. Beyond that, Happy New Year and Merry Christmas to everyone.
Are you referring to like non-OPWC funded
Yes.
streets and something that we're not getting grants on?
Yes, yeah, even if we put it out in April to bid and we tell the contractor, hey, we want this done by July 30th, we're gonna pay a premium for that. And if we tell them, hey, you got until the end of the season to do it, then we get better prices.
Understood. Any questions or comments for the city engineer? Councilman Jaworski.
Thank you. Pete, any updates after our last meeting in regards to the Rockefeller Road 84 intersection?
I know that we'll be meeting with Commissioner Hammercheck very soon. I don't have a specific date yet, but that's what we know. And whenever you're ready, we can schedule a meeting with the residents to maybe after the first of the year just to go over the plan, maybe get the community center, let me know when.
Okay, will do.
Any further questions or Mayor?
Yeah, Pete, just a guesstimate, when you say higher premiums, 50,000, 100,000?
Or is it a percentage of the contract?
Yeah, it's probably more of a percentage thing that, you know, you're gonna pay 10% more.
All right, well, good to know.
Any other questions or comments for the city engineer? Thank you, Mr. Formica. Service Director Strauser.
Thank you, Council President. I just have a couple quick things that pertain to the ordinances that are on tonight. So the first one is a reappropriations, which is that I could not find a lawnmower for the amount that I originally budgeted. I ended up finally they rebid, and I was able to purchase, I was able to get a pricing through a state contract through, it's called Omnia Partners, which we haven't dealt with in a while. But anyway, so the lawnmower ended up costing a little bit less than $20,000 more than what I originally asked for. What I originally asked for, we were gonna trade in the other one. That is not including the trade. The trade I'm gonna keep until we get the new one, and then I'm gonna sell it outright because it just isn't right if I was to trade in the vehicle now, I would have to maintain it at the same exact status that it is now. If something happens and I blow the engine, I'm not gonna put 10 grand in an engine. They're gonna give me $7,500 for a mower. So that's why I just decided to ask for a little bit more money, and then the money will come back. We will sell the trade when we get the new one. But I just wanted to make sure that that was on there. And that's for the appropriation part, and then the second part is the actual purchase of the mower. The other one is just for the purchase of the mower. That's all I have.
Any questions or comments for the Service Director? Councilman Jaworski.
Ron, are you guys around the clock now?
Right now it's first and second shift. January 3rd, it will be 3 shifts.
Okay.
Any further questions or comments for the Service Director? Thank you, Mr. Strauser. Move to Commissioner Sack.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. I just have a few things. 29010 Euclid Avenue, next to Mug Shots, that brown building is all down. I finally that lot out today. Looks real nice. And Dino passed his property maintenance exam and is in compliance with the civil service requirements. And Merry Christmas to everybody.
Any questions or comments for the Building Commissioner? Councilwoman Koski.
What are they doing again with that property that was torn down?
They're talking about coming to us and rezoning it for apartments.
It's big enough with parking spaces?
Well, they're gonna tear the other buildings down. The old Easter Club next to Dr. Petty's, and that whole section will be gone.
Oh, wow.
So.
Any further questions or comments for the Building Commissioner? Thank you, Mr. Sack. Recreation Director, stop.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Just one quick comment. We're a little bit under a month away from it, but I'd like to invite everyone to our annual Winterfest at Greenridge Golf Course on January 14th from 1 to 4. We will be doing winter activities there, and the main event will be our chili cook-off. So I'd like to invite everyone to that. That's it.
Any questions or comments for the Recreation Director? Thank you, Mr. Stopp. The Economic Development Manager position is going to be excused. We're going to have that removed from the agenda eventually. I think we have to do that by motion, yes. Eventually. I'll now open the floor for audience participation. If anyone would like to address Wickliffe City Council, please stand and state your name and address for the clerk's record. Each person will have a 5-minute amount of time. The council clerk has a microphone, since this is recorded. If you would like to speak, we'd appreciate if you grab the microphone. Would anyone like to address Wickliffe City Council? Would anyone like to address Wickliffe City Council? If not, I'll mark audience participation closed. Committee reports. Commission reports. Seeing no old business, with a new business, civil service, Mayor.
Okay, so today I met with Chairman of Civil Service, Jim Kane, and we discussed some options. So the first thing he asked is can we put this in committee of the whole civil service. So he would like to just come and discuss with everybody some of the things he would like to implement or change, and just kind of weigh in how things work. I know we're in different times, so one thing we didn't know, so we had the list that, you know, stuck us for a year. Well, the mayor, if they exhaust every option and they're out of options, I could have them call for another test. They can administer another test at any time. So that kind of helps. So I did talk about them, okay, instead of being on this list committed for a year, can we go to 6 months? So that's something he will talk about that. But he said that I do have the authority as safety director to call for a test if we've exhausted every option. The other thing was lateral transfers we discussed. So this is something, again, he would like to talk to everybody about. We could, deemed if necessary, the options were, okay, if we have 100 applicants, obviously we don't have to go that route. But if we're handcuffed and we're out, then that's a possible direction. And so he's going to discuss all this with civil service, but he also wants to talk to all of you guys about some of the options as well going forward. So he asked if maybe sometime in January we could have him. I told him normally there's no audience, but if, you know, he wanted to speak, that I didn't see it being a problem, but that's your guys, and I just he wanted everybody to be included. So.
Okay. We'll put civil service into the committee of the whole. Okay, new business B, organizational meeting. I'm going to call for the organizational meeting to be on January 2nd, 2023 at 7 p.m. here in council chambers. And then new business C, sewer fund. Debbie, you want to speak on that for a second? What you wanted this to be put into a committee,
Yes.
which we will, but just a little background real quick.
Okay, back in 2019, and I believe 21, we advanced money from the general fund into the sewer fund, totaling $250,000, both of those transfers. Normally, advances are to be paid back within 1 year. We intended to do that back in 2019 when we raised the rates and thought that we would be able to do that. But to date, we have not been able to pay back any of the $250,000. And I had approached Council President Levon and requested that you consider changing the, reclassifying those advances as subsidy transfers that would not have to be paid back to the general fund in order to even out our sewer fund. Right now, the county considers our sewer fund negative because they back out the advances. And so they can't certify our fund balance. There is no consequences at the county level. However, if this continues to go on, then the state auditor could, you know, bring that up in an audit, and we could have, you know, a ding against us on our audit, and that just doesn't look good. So I just, with the healthy balance that we have in the general fund at this time, I just would like you to consider reclassifying those and not paying them back to the general fund. And hopefully we won't have to continue to subsidize it, but.
Right, so the idea was, I'm just gonna put this in the finance committee and we'll talk about it in next year. So we'll put sewer fund in the finance committee. We'll move on to ordinances.
Ordinance number 2022-64, an ordinance authorizing the subdivision of municipal property and declaring an emergency, third reading.
Third reading.
Third reading.
Oh, it's third reading, I'm sorry.
Did you say adoption?
No, I said suspension because
Okay.
I forgot it was third reading.
That's okay.
I missed that part.
That's okay.
You need to yell these things in.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Jaworski, second by Councilman Thielman to adopt ordinance 2022-64 as presented. Discussion? Councilman Jaworski.
Ron, if we were to just take down the existing fence and put up a new fence along the correct property line, how much would that cost us?
$7,000 to $8,000 probably for the length of that.
Is it something that we could do in-house? Or would we have to hire out for that?
Depending, yeah, I mean, yeah, if we did it in-house, it'd be significantly cheaper. Probably half of that cost.
Councilman Gerardstein.
If we did it in just a split rail fence, would it be cheaper in-house?
Absolutely.
So do we absolutely have to have a chain link fence right there?
We absolutely do not. And absolutely, split rail would be 100% cheaper, probably $2,000 probably, and we can do that in-house for sure.
Okay.
If you did want to do that. Takes a little bit of the security away from the golf course, but I don't see, most golf courses you go to don't have security fences, so.
Councilman Gerardstein.
Can we just leave the current fence up and fix the complaint on putting the split rail fence up on the property line and just leave the other fence there?
The current fence that's up needs to come down.
Okay.
That's my personal opinion. It needs to come down, it's bad.
I just think this ordinance is, and selling that piece of property is an awful lot of work for everybody for just a fence. If we just move the fence to our property line and make the resident happy, I think that's better than selling this property where if we have to put a sewer easement in anyhow, why would we create another problem in the city later on if we do have to put the sewer in?
That's certainly your choice.
Okay.
Any further discussion on the ordinance? Councilman Jaworski.
I'm not sure who to ask, be it Ray, maybe the mayor. Had anyone talked with the property owner? I know when this, excuse me, went on first reading, we had a discussion that the property owner may not have been aware that with an easement there, they couldn't build anything. Was there ever any discussion with them since then?
I haven't heard any, Councilman Jaworski.
I have never spoke with I had a conversation with Councilwoman Saloto about, she just wanted to know, they were calling her about getting going
Right.
on what a decision was. That this has been going on for a couple of years now.
Yes, it has been.
So that's the only conversation I had. It was your guys' choice on how you wanted to approach this.
So Ray, haven't they talked to you
They
previously?
have not, Maria.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I've
I'm
only
not
spoken
sure
with
they're
them, you know, occasionally, Mr. Evans gets a hold of me just to get an update on what's going on, you know, the process, but I have never discussed this issue with them.
Yeah, I'm not sure they're aware.
I imagine they aren't, because as it was said in last meeting, if that's true that they intend on building a garage on it and that's not
Right.
possible,
Right.
doesn't sound like, to me, that they were aware of
They
that.
understand that,
Any further discussion on the adoption? Sandy, please call the roll.
So no, I guess we know.
No.
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 Ordinance number 2022-68, an ordinance levying an assessment for unpaid bills and cost of cutting noxious or poisonous weeds, vines, tree limbs, or grasses growing upon parcels of land in the city of Wickliffe, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerardstein, seconded by Councilwoman Koski to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2022-68 on third and final reading. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Yes.
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 Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerardstein, seconded by Councilman Bala to adopt ordinance 2022-68 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Yes.
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 Ordinance number 2022-69, an ordinance providing appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Wickliffe, Ohio for the period beginning January 1st, 2022 and ending December 31st, 2022, and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Thielman, seconded by Councilman Gerhardstein to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2022-69 on third and final reading. Discussion? Councilman Jaworski.
Just to confirm, this is only for to appropriate the $20,000 for the mower? There's no other changes in this?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Any further discussion on the suspension? Sandy, please call the roll.
Yes.
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 Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Bala to adopt ordinance 2022-69 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Yes.
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 Ordinance number 2022-70, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of one new Jacobson HR 600 wide area mower with requested equipment through Omnia Partners contract for use by the Service Department of the City of Wickliffe and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Sloto, seconded by Councilman Gerhardstein to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2022-70 on third and final reading. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Yes.
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 Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Thielman to adopt ordinance 2022-70 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Yes.
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 Seeing no resolutions, is there any other legislation? Miscellaneous? I'll entertain a motion to move into executive session.
I'll make a motion. Move into executive session.
Moved by Councilwoman Kosky, seconded by Councilwoman Sloto to move into executive session to discuss personnel. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Yes.
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 To the 5-minute recess.
Why didn't you call your bed?
$78.